Today's entire show is dedicated to answering your questions pertaining to Bible prophecy. Join us by calling 1-877-363-8463. We're going to discuss the two things you're not supposed to talk about: politics and religion. Welcome to End of the Age. I'm Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We wanted to remind you right out of the gate that today is open line, so give us a call at 1-877-Endtime, 1-877-363-8463. We're not going to be restrictive about the topic, so whatever you want to talk about, we are maybe prepared to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it regardless. And I also wanted to remind you that coming up on April 17th at 6 p.m. and April 18th at 10 a.m., Dave Robbins will be in Gladewater, Texas, doing a Endtime Prophecy Conference. This is actually where Doug goes to church, so Doug will be there as well. So if you want to come out and see Dave and Doug, Dave will be teaching about the future according to Bible prophecy and breaking prophetic fulfillments there in Gladewater, Texas on April 17th and April 18th. And you can learn more about that at endtime.com/events. And Doug, as I understand it, you're following that up with a Endtime Bible study, right? Following like the week after it's going to start?
Yeah, we're going to do the Understanding the End Time Bible study.
Okay.
That'll probably be starting that Monday directly after that prophecy.
The next day?
Yeah,
April 19th.
Yeah. And also just, let everybody know the name of the church is Abundant Life, Gladewater, and our pastor is Michael McGuire. Pastor Michael McGuire, he's a great guy. So we're just encouraging everybody to come out. It's going to be a great time. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yep, it will be a great time. So come out and meet Dave and Doug, but also join up in that Bible study, and you get to hang out with Doug and his wife Tina for about several months there.
Yeah,
following
18
it. So
weeks.
Also wanted to give everyone an update on the Reclaim America campaign. You all are responding so tremendously. It's really awesome to see how it's going. I jokingly said, I can't believe it was last week when we started this, but I jokingly said, let's get it done in 2 days or whatever. Well, that didn't happen, but nonetheless, the response has been incredible. You guys are obviously motivated by this campaign, and we're thankful that you can see Irvin's vision for this, and we're going to continue to carry it on. And we acknowledge the importance of our lawmakers and thought leaders in America receiving Endtime magazine so that they can see what their decisions, the implications that their decisions have in relation to Bible prophecy. So it's critical that they get Endtime magazine for the next 2 years. Alabama has been covered, Texas has been covered, West Virginia has been covered, several other states and territories like the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico are covered. Also thought leaders, Ben Shapiro, Sean Hannity, they're covered. And President Biden finally has one, so somebody called and covered him.
Great.
We still need some for the Supreme Court justices, people like Candace Owens. Oklahoma, there's only 5 slots needed, so $200 covers the whole state of Oklahoma. I don't know where everyone is there. Indiana, Endtime's home state, still has $240 left to cover them. So
very little.
Where are the Hoosiers at? That's my home state as well. Right. So it's time to step up there. Louisiana is $240 shy. Several other states there that need covered, and several other thought leaders like Jerry Falwell and other Dennis Prager, other prominent thought leaders. So give us a call at 1-800-ENDTIME or go to endtime.com/USA to contribute to the Reclaim America campaign. Doug, you want to go ahead and get to the calls? You want to move on? What do you want to do?
We were talking about maybe giving them a flood update.
Okay.
Give them a flood update. You know that information, or?
I can, yeah. So as you all know, we were flooded the middle of February. Snowmageddon came to Dallas here, and one of our sprinkler pipes got frozen and burst and showered us in an unbelievable way. It was on for about 10 minutes, and 8,000 square feet was flooded, which impacted about 15,000 square feet where our office and studio is. Actually, you can't see it on camera here, but the whole studio, basically the whole studio was flooded. The whole set that you're looking at now behind me was flooded, and it's about 3 inches underwater or so. And so we are dealing with insurance on that. It's been a nightmare to deal with. As you can imagine, our whole team is displaced because that's where everyone worked here. And we have moved upstairs here at Endtime, and it's actually pretty nice up there, but we are still waiting on insurance to resolve all that. Many of you have contributed since we're not really sure what all they'll cover. There's some upfront expenses that we've had to take care of without the insurance's assistance. So if you would like to contribute or learn more about that campaign, you can at endtime.com/flood. But we are kind of going crazy here with the displacement, Doug, and just kind of want to give everybody an update. We're still several months out on that. Remodeling hasn't even started yet, and if we could turn the cameras over here, you'd see the walls, half of the walls missing here. So it's quite interesting around Endtime
and
these
sometimes
days.
we get a little sound in here we normally don't
That's
have.
That's true.
Like yesterday, loud beeping as they were unloading some things. But,
yes.
We probably ought to go ahead and let them know about the reason why we're on today, and Dave is not.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dave went to visit his mom back home in Indiana. And he and his wife Jana went out to take a little time off and do that. So Dave needed some time off. This is a good thing for Dave to get to go and see his mom for a while. So we're happy to be able to fill in today. He was on Daystar on Tuesday, and so we were not on Tuesday, and we did a replay. But today we wanted to make sure that we were here so we could take your calls. So don't forget to call us and ask us questions today.
Yep, give us a call at 1-877-END-TIME. That's 1-877-363-8463 when we want to talk to you. It's open line, so whatever you want to talk about is what we will talk about. You ready?
Yeah, there's several things to talk about, too.
Go to the phones, or you want to talk about a few things first?
Let's go to one of the phones, see what we can get.
All right, Nick in South Carolina, you are on End of the Age. How you doing today, Nick?
Hey, how y'all doing today? How's it going?
Doing well.
Hey, I just wanted to ask y'all something. I don't have the Bible in front of me, but towards the end of the book of Revelation, when God releases his plagues, do you know how long each of those plagues, I think it's 7 plagues. I can't remember offhand because it's just been, on a personal note, it's just been a hectic day at work, but I've been meaning to call y'all, and I just can't get through the past few times, so I actually got through this time. But I think it's the 7 plagues. Do you know how long each of those plagues run?
So what I think you're asking is about the vials that are poured out, or the vials, that are poured out. So we don't know exactly how long each one of those will last. We do know that those are going to begin to happen during that Great Tribulation period, somewhere where the 2 witnesses are on the scene, that can possibly begin to happen there, because the first one is poured out on people who have the mark of the beast. And so we know it's going to be in that time period. We just don't know how long each one of those will last, and we don't know how wide that will happen. We think it's going to be kind of like a generated area of that specific place around Jerusalem and Israel, some of those plagues. So.
All right, well, thank you for your call, Scott. We'll be taking more calls after the break. Give us a call at 1-877-END-TIME, 1-877-363-8463. We look forward to talking to you after the break. Major internet companies are silencing and censoring Christian voices online. These companies are trying to control what you see and hear. Almost 200 videos of ours have been marked as restricted online right now. That's why we launched End of the Age Plus, a platform where the truth won't be censored, a platform where we can preach the message of the gospel. When you subscribe to End of the Age Plus today for just $12.99 a month, you can watch all of our content in a secure, easy-to-view way from your favorite device. When you go to watch.endtime.com and subscribe, you'll get instant access to all of our teaching resources, including Revelation, the Unveiling of Jesus Christ, Understanding the End Time, End Time Magazine, and so much more. We will not censor our message to comply with what the world deems as politically correct. Go to watch.endtime.com right now, or search End of the Age Plus in the App Store or Google Play.
We've seen Bible prophecy fulfilled like never before. From the halls of the United Nations to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, End Time Ministries continues to reveal the Bible prophecy in the news headlines around the world every day. Whether it's through our broadcast or online at our Jerusalem Prophecy College, your gifts enable us to put vital materials in the hands of those who need it most. Because of you, we continue to replace fear with faith in the hearts of Christians around the world. We will continue to see prophecy come to pass at an even swifter pace. We need your support. Your donation of any amount enables us to continue to broadcast and be a voice in the ever-growing censored media. To become a partner or give a one-time gift, visit endtime.com or call 1-800-END-TIME right now. That's 800-363-8463. Go online now. Visit endtime.com.
Welcome back to End of the Age. I'm Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We are taking your calls, and we have open lines, so give us a call at 1-877-END-TIME, 1-877-363-8463. We are going to take a call from Denise, who follows us on Facebook, where you can follow us as well. Over 200,000 people do, so join up with them. Look on Facebook and search End Time Ministries or End Time Inc., and you will find us. But Denise, Doug, she wants to know, is Revelation 12:13 describing the false prophet?
Okay, so this is what Revelation 12:13 says. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. So we're told up in this scripture earlier that the dragon is the devil or Satan, okay? And so that is actually, when we see that, it's going to be the whole world government that actually comes against Israel. So it'll be the Antichrist and his world government. But right here, when it talks about the dragon, it's talking about the devil. The devil, we talked about this a little bit yesterday on the program, that Michael and his angels fight against the devil and his fallen angels, and that the devil loses his place and he's cast to the earth, where he's going to have to stay there until this all plays out in God's time clock there. So the devil comes down. We believe that at that point, when the devil is cast out, that he will probably possess the body of the Antichrist, and the Antichrist and his world government will then pursue after the woman, which is Israel, and begin to start the Great Tribulation there. So that is not the false prophet that it's talking about there. That is actually the Antichrist and the one world government. But the dragon specifically is the devil.
Great. Well, Karen on Facebook also wants to know, when will the Daystar interview air? And actually, Daystar already has it posted, so you can go to daystar.com and look up, just search Dave Robbins, I believe, and you can find it there. You might have to hit the on-demand button first and then search Dave Robbins, but it's right there on their Ministry Now program. So Dave was interviewed, if you're not aware, Dave was interviewed on Daystar on Tuesday, and you should go watch that. He was with Marcus and Joni Lamb, and it was a really great interview.
Yeah, it
and
was.
so, yeah, go check that out. It's live on their website now, daystar.com. All right, give us a call at 1-877-END-TIME. We are going to go to Camille in Texas. Camille, welcome to End of the Age.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
We're doing well. How are you?
I'm blessed.
Oh, that sounds good.
I guess my question would be, I was having a conversation with my daughter, and she's really concerned about the COVID vaccine, and it's the mark of the beast. They're grown now. They're in their mid-20s, and I kind of always talk to them about the end time and not taking the mark of the beast, and I try to plan the foundation with them. So we had a conversation, and I just wanted to know, do y'all think that that's my question, with the president trying to enforce the COVID vaccine, saying that you can't travel if you don't be vaccinated, and I've heard you couldn't go into stores if you weren't vaccinated. Do y'all think that this is the introduction of the mark of the beast?
Well, it's definitely a precursor to the mark of the beast. The way that they're setting the system up to where you can't go to the grocery store, you can't go in movie theaters, can't go on public transportation, things like that, it's precursors to it. It's about control. They want to control us. They want to be able to make sure everybody has this vaccine for whatever reason, now that they're trying to push the vaccine on everybody. But the thing is we know, and we had a program about this last week, that it's not the mark of the beast, because it's not time for the mark of the beast yet. There's several things that have to be in place for the mark of the beast to be instated. So it's not the mark of the beast. It is a concern anytime that they tell us you have to have something in order to do this or that, because I mean there's several issues there that we talked about on that program a week ago. But there's some good news. We have an article today, so we're glad you asked that question, because we actually have an article that came out of Breitbart on the 7th of April, where we have several of our governors within the United States that are pushing back against this. In other countries, Vince, we talked about it the other day. You said you had a friend there in Israel, and they were letting you know that, it's very hard to move around right now, that you're kind of under house arrest. And so it is concerning what is going on in other countries. But here in the United States, it looks like our governors are beginning to push back. So in this article, it says that the GOP governors take a stand against the vaccine passports. And it says, I do not and will not support it. That's coming from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who said that he in no way is going to support this. We also had other governors. We had the Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, Missouri Governor Mike Parson, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, and then our Governor Greg Abbott. He followed suit on Tuesday with an executive order prohibiting government-mandated vaccine passports in the Lone Star State. So, woohoo, Texas.
Yay!
Yeah. So we're starting to see some people that are pushing back against it. I don't think that it'll be fully instated in this nation anyway. Not the vaccine and not the mark of the beast. Based on what we see from Scripture, it looks like we are helping Israel there at the time of the Great Tribulation. And in order for us to do that, they wouldn't be able to put those economic sanctions on us individually and do the things that the mark will do if we're helping Israel. Now, we may be standing alone as a nation at that point and kind of become self-sufficient, but we were kind of on that way anyway under the old administration that was just in. We were beginning, to support ourselves in fuel and, building the border wall and all those kind of things were being set up to where we could see, the big picture of how this could happen in the future. So we know it's going to happen because it's in Bible prophecy, and it looks like, we will not be under that mark of the beast. So I hope that kind of sets your mind at ease a little bit.
It did. My daughter watches, they're coming in the room when I'm watching the program, and so they'll ask questions. So I just wanted them to be able to hear my answer as well and hear you guys answer as well, so they can kind of, I'm pulling them in a little bit at a time.
Absolutely.
Camille, are you already an Into the Age Plus subscriber?
Yes, I am.
Oh, well, I was going to give you some months for free, so I'm glad you are. Doug and I did a show last week on it, so we could, actually, you can go there and search it. Is the mark of the beast, is the COVID-19 vaccine the mark of the beast? And it'll pop right up there for you. We spent an hour talking about that, so should give you some points there to share with them.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Camille.
guys. You guys be blessed.
All right, God bless you.
Thank you for your service.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You guys are awesome.
All right, Doug. So Myra Butler 89 on Instagram, she follows us, Endtime Inc. there on Instagram. Mm-hmm. She wants to know, how do you begin a prophecy conversation with someone?
Well, I tell you what, your grandfather was the world's greatest at this. So,
well, that's because you could be talking about grandbabies or baseball or basketball or whatever sport, anything you want to throw out there, and he'd go, you know what that reminds me of? Back in 1722, old so-and-so said this, which meant this to the United. And I'm like, I was trying to tell you an update about your 3-year-old great-grandchild.
Right.
He could bring up prophecy no matter what.
He really could.
Yeah.
But one of his favorite things to tell people is the United States discovered in Bible prophecy. That was like his hook, line, and sinker right there to catch you, because he could tell people, hey, did you know the United States is in the Bible? And they'd say, what? I've never heard that before in my life.
Or I've heard the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. And he could say, no, it's right here in Daniel chapter 7, and boom, take them right there, and he could teach a whole lesson just like that by sparking up a conversation. So that's a really good way to do it. If you haven't ever seen that study that we have, the United States discovered in the Bible, you can see that on our End of the Age Plus, or you could buy that DVD for $20.
Understand the Bible?
No, the United States discovered in the Bible.
I totally misheard you.
Yeah. So
you can do that.
you can get that, and you could watch that, and you'd be able to teach that part. You'd be able to get people right there just with that lesson.
Absolutely. That's my answer as well. I like that startup point. But also, I mean, you can tie it into so much going on. Like, no matter where you fall on your opinion, the stuff with the COVID passport, that is different. The stuff with gun control, the things we're talking about in the news today, that is different than what we've talked about historically. The stuff with LGBTQ plus stuff, I mean, this is all unprecedented stuff.
Yeah.
And you're just able to have conversations like, why is this happening now? Or maybe it seems crazy to some, or maybe it seems like it took too long to get here to others.
Yeah.
And you're able to trickle in Bible prophecy facts in there. So
absolutely,
I think all you really need to do is look at the news or go through social media. There's plenty of stuff on there that you can.
And it's happening every day so quick.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, we are going back to the phones. We'll go to Philip in Arizona. Philip, welcome to End of the Age.
Hello?
Hi, Philip.
Hey, how you doing, man?
We're doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. So my question basically is, from Scripture, is there any way to tell what the origin of the Antichrist is? Like what his nationality will be, where he will, and like where he will come from? And if so, do we know from the Bible how far out we are from that time?
How much time do you have, Philip?
A little bit.
Yeah, that's a big question, Philip. But actually, yes, we do have an idea of where that comes from. So in one scripture of the Bible, in Daniel chapter 2, it talks about the vision that Nebuchadnezzar had in his dream, the statue that he had in his dream. Daniel explains that statue, and he explains that each part of that statue was a kingdom. And starting with Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom. But when he gets down to the legs, he's got legs of iron. And then he gets down to the feet, and it's iron mingled with clay. So what we understand about this situation is the legs of iron was the Roman Empire. The legs, or the feet of iron mingled with clay, is the Holy Roman Empire. That clay is the Holy Roman Empire element of it. It changed from just iron to iron mingled with clay. In there, there's 10 toes on those feet, and those 10 toes represent the same thing as the 10 horns from Daniel chapter 7. And those 10 horns in Daniel chapter 7 are told to us these are 10 kings, and out of those kings will rise up a little horn, and that little horn will be the Antichrist. So that gives us an idea of where he's going to come from. So we believe that he's going to come from Europe, and it's going to be the reborn Holy Roman Empire that he comes from. And that actually happened back at the Lisbon Treaty, I believe in 2012, on November 9th, 2012, at the Lisbon Treaty. When the EU signed into that treaty, that brought all those nations back into that were the original Holy Roman Empire. And so these are clues that we have in the Bible that tells us his origins are probably going to be from Europe, and specifically out of that Holy Roman Empire.
Will he reign from Europe, or will he migrate somewhere else?
Well, he's going to take over the world government. So he's going to specifically come down and go after Israel. We know from Scripture that that's going to be the main focus. Is everything is going to focus on Jerusalem. But he's going to have wars. Daniel chapter 11 tells us that he has at least 3 wars that he's going to have to fight. So he's going to have some opposition, and he's going to have some trouble. But his main focus is going to turn back for the Battle of Armageddon and be against Jerusalem. And specifically, the Temple Mount is where a lot of this is centered on. So, God said 37 times in the Old Testament, "There I shall put my name," and the devil's been wanting his name there ever since.
And Philip, as you can tell, it's a pretty detailed explanation there, and we actually have hours and hours of content on that specific subject. So, are you already a subscriber to End of the Age Plus?
No.
Okay, if you stay on hold there, Sherry will pick back up and get your email address. I'd like to give you several months of that for free. And when we send you access, I'll send you some links to specific videos about this very topic, and you can get on there and watch it all night like you would some random episodes on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Binge watch.
Binge watch. I couldn't think of the term. Sherry will get your info, and we'll get that over to you today. So thanks for calling, Philip. We appreciate it. Doug, you mentioned Daniel 7 there in your remarks, and actually Mel from Facebook had a question about Daniel 7. He wants to know, when you say you don't see the eagle's wings from Daniel 7 in Revelation, is it possible with North Korea and Iran after us that we will be nuked?
Well,
Pretty morbid.
That is pretty morbid. I know that there are actually people that teach that America is not in the end time prophecies and that we're destroyed. And a lot of people say Russia is going to be the ones that's going to destroy us, but we don't see anything in Bible prophecy that helps us to see that. What we know is in Revelation 12:14, we know that we have that. We talk about it all the time. Israel is protected by the two wings of a great eagle there. So we believe that is the two wings. That's the wings that are missing from Daniel 7. When we get to Revelation 13, we see the one world government beast there. We see the lion, we see the leopard, we see the bear, and we see the 10-horned kingdom, but no eagle's wings. But then just a chapter before, we see the eagle's wings helping Israel. And one of the ways that this makes huge sense to me is we are the only nation that has a military base in Jerusalem, and it just so happens to be the United States Air Force, which is the wings of the great eagle. So I feel like that prophecy is dead on, and that's where America's going to be during that final 3.5 years.
Perfect. That was a great explanation.
I hope so.
Well, we want to remind you that Dave is going to be in Gladewater, Texas on April 17th and April 18th. 6 p.m. on the 17th, 10 a.m. on the 18th. He's going to be teaching on the future according to Bible prophecy and breaking prophetic fulfillments. You can learn more about that conference at endtime.com/events. It's next week. Go there, meet Dave, meet Doug. It'll be a great time together there. We are taking your calls, and there are open lines, so give us a call at 1-877-ENDTIME, 1-877-363-8463.
Move Mountains with Irvin Baxter. This book by Irvin's grandson provides 30 days of devotion that will enhance your relationship with God and others. Authentic illustrations from early morning devotions at Endtime will help you find your purpose and eliminate fears. Commit to taking this 30-day journey and experience real life change. Get your book for only $14.99. Call 1-800-363-8463 or go to endtime.com/move.
Major internet companies are silencing and censoring Christian voices online. These companies are trying to control what you see and hear. Almost 200 videos of ours have been marked as restricted online right now. That's why we launched End of the Age Plus, a platform where the truth won't be censored, a platform where we can preach the message of the gospel. When you subscribe to End of the Age Plus today for just $12.99 a month, you can watch all of our content in a secure, easy-to-view way from your favorite device. When you go to watch.endtime.com and subscribe, you'll get instant access to all of our teaching resources, including Revelation, the Unveiling of Jesus Christ, Understanding the End Time, End Time Magazine, and so much more. We will not censor our message to comply with what the world deems as politically correct. Go to watch.endtime.com right now or search End of the Age Plus in the App Store or Google Play.
If your station only carries the first 30 minutes of End of the Age, go to endtime.com and click the watch button to continue today's broadcast. You can also finish up later by clicking the archive button.
Welcome back to End of the Age. I'm Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. You can call us at 1-877-ENDTIME, 1-877-363-8463. Today's entire show is about whatever you want to talk about, as long as we'll take your call. If you're too crazy, we probably won't get it. I'll just tell you. There's some crazy stuff that get brought. We get emailed some really funny stuff sometimes.
There's all kinds of things.
And some of it is good to talk about, but we just might not talk about it on the air. So nonetheless, we will take your calls at 1-877-ENDTIME. And I just got a text actually on the break from a pastor here in Princeton, Texas, and he said, "You and Doug look great," and he did a crying, laughing emoji. I'm like, well, what does that mean? I don't know. But
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think you do.
Telling G thanks.
I know, that's what I did. I was like, wow, what's the LOL about? But you look good, Doug, anyway.
Thanks, Vince. You look pretty good, too.
We will go to Sharon in Oklahoma. Sharon, welcome to End of the Age.
Hello. Yeah, both of you guys look good.
Oh,
Well,
great.
thank you, Sharon.
Hey, I went and got my driver's license renewed the other day, and on my driver's license it says not to be used as a real ID. And then today I was on the phone with the Department of Vehicles, and I got the recording. And on the recording it says that you can get your real ID, and you have to have it before October of this year to fly on a domestic flight.
Mm-hmm.
Had y'all heard anything about this?
Well, I have not been up to date on it the way I probably should have been. But, I mean, I know that last year it was supposed to go into effect, and then COVID kind of threw everything out of whack, and they extended it another year. But did you say that your license says that it's not to be used as a real ID?
Yeah, that's what it says on it, on the Oklahoma license.
Did you specifically ask for that, or is that just the one they issued you?
No, because normally, you know, when you go get your license renewed, they take a picture of you, they run it through that machine, and you walk out with it in your hand. That's how it's always been in the past. Well, this year, you go in, and they don't take your old license, and they don't punch a hole through it like they used to do. They give it back to you, and they give you a sheet of paper and telling you to wait on your driver's license and to use that sheet of paper for your license. Well, then when they came in the mail, it said not to be used as a real ID. And I thought, what is that? You know, so I asked my husband if his had his, and he really didn't look at his. His is commercial vehicle, so I wanted to know if his had it, you know. And, but anyway, whenever I called today, and they said to do a domestic flight, you have to have it or to get onto into a federal building or anywhere unless you have a military ID.
Yeah. Well, that's true, and we've known this was coming for a while. You know, we fought against it for a long time, and really I think we helped hold it back a little bit. You know, we talked about the first of the hour about sending the magazines out to our representatives and everything. Well, that's one of the campaigns that started that, was to try to squelch this real ID. And so it's something we've been kind of pushing back against. But to be honest with you, you know, like we were talking about earlier with the COVID vaccine not being the mark of the beast, this real ID is just another one of those precursors, and it's just another way that they're tracking us. It's another way that, you know, they have control over us, is with our ID. I've had a real ID in my back pocket for the last several years. I have a commercial ID as well, but mine is real ID compliant because I would have to travel with Brother Baxter on the conferences. So my wife and I would travel with him all the time. And to get on an American Airlines flight, you know, or any flight, you had to have your driver's license in it. It's been real ID compatible for a long time. So, I mean, this is true. I looked it up, and it says right here that after October 1st of 2021, you will not be able to fly without a real ID driver's license.
I was thinking maybe, you know, if it was overseas, I could understand, but you have a passport for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and your passport has the same technology in it as that license does. So there's like a chip in there that they read. And so my passport that I use to travel when we go to Israel and things like that out of the country, that passport has that same kind of technology that they can read it. So
and also, Dave always says that, you know, he's not going to get the vaccine unless they require it for him to go out of the country. Mm-hmm. And they're going to require it.
Yeah. Well, we heard the other day that there is an exemption if you've had the virus, that you may possibly not have to do the vaccine if you can prove you've had the virus. And Dave had the virus, and he recovered from the virus. So he may be able to get around not getting the vaccine. But, yeah, I've heard him say that myself. So.
All right. Well, thank you for your call, Sharon. We certainly appreciate it. We are taking your calls at 1-877-Endtime, and I will clarify there just slightly that Dave would want to say that what he has said is that if he is required to get into Israel, not if he's trying to go down Mexico or whatever for a little vacation or something. It's if he said that if he's required to go to Israel, he would do it.
Yeah.
And actually, like Doug mentioned, we recently learned that if you can prove that you've had it, or they're even talking now that if you are willing to test and you can test negative, that they may let you in. So all that's still up in the air. It's going to change 100 times between now and then. So a lot of details there to figure out. So yeah. Next call, we're going to go to Sue in Texas. Sue, welcome to End of the Age.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've been, me and people that I know, we're wondering about our government. And I don't know if this is something you can talk about, but we know that Biden is not doing this stuff. He's doing what somebody is telling him to do. And we've just wondered who is controlling our government. And we think it's foreign countries, but what do y'all think about it?
Well, Sue, I'm sworn to secrecy. I'm not allowed to talk about that.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I will say that, we know that we as believers in Jesus, born-again believers, we're going to be led by the Spirit. If we seek out the Spirit. And so we also know that if you're not, you are going to be, you're going to have strings being pulled behind the scenes, whether you're the president or not, from not things that are not the Spirit, things that are anti-Christ, anti-biblical. And so we know at the very minimum that if President Biden is not a born-again believer, that there will be things that are going into his mind that are determining decisions being made. And that's the case for every cabinet member, every lawmaker, every thought leader. That's why this Reclaim America campaign is so important. But they are going to be influenced by things that are not of God, and decisions are going to be made. Now, can we say that the Illuminati is controlling President Biden, or that some other outside force, Russia, or whatever the case may be? Doug and I, unless Doug has some insider information that he hasn't told me about yet, I don't think that we can speak on that because we just simply do not know.
Right.
You don't know either.
No, we don't. We are out of the loop.
They're trying to destroy America as quick as they can.
Well,
anyway,
we definitely know that there is an agenda behind a lot of things they do. We know that the global agenda is to destroy the United States because they don't want us to have sovereignty in the state. They want us to have the open borders. They want us just to be one world and be under that global economic system, the global government, and take our orders from the UN. So whether this is a foreign entity, like you say, we don't know. What we try to do is try to stick to the prophecies of the Bible. And the Bible does tell us that this is coming because it tells us there's going to be a world government. And that's what we're watching happen. And with the Biden administration, he makes no apologies about being a globalist and being a one-worlder. He is very much a globalist, and he doesn't try to pretend he's not. And so if there is an agenda behind it, we don't know, but we know the ultimate agenda behind it is Satan and the one world government.
Right. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for your call, Sue. We certainly appreciate it. You can give us a call as well at 1-877-ENDTIME, 1-877-363-8463. Doug Becca from Instagram wants to know, can you explain when the wrath of God begins, before or after the rapture?
That's a very good question. So we've got a little bit of a hint to that kind of stuff. I touched on it a little bit earlier, so let me get there. Revelation 16 tells us that the vials are poured out in this chapter. So we see that the first one is poured out on those who have the mark of the beast. It says, "And the first went and poured out the vial upon the earth, and there fell a newsome grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them that worship his image." And so we see that it's going to begin during that tribulation time or shortly after that starts, because the people are going to have the mark of the beast and worship the beast, that this first vial is poured out. So some of it will begin to happen while we're still here, but we see down in the latter half of this chapter, in right before the seventh vial is poured out, it says in verse 15, "Behold, I come as a thief, and blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame." Well, we know that the day of the Lord comes as a thief in the night. Brother Baxter would always tell us this is like the final warning that the Lord's given right before everything culminates right there. And so we're down at the 7th vial in the very 2 verses down. Verse 16 says he gathers them together in a place in Hebrew called Armageddon. And then the 7th angel pours out his vial into the air, and that's the full wrath of God. But we're raptured before that full wrath comes out. And some of these may be local plagues, like I talked about before. So we know, like, one of them is poured on the Euphrates River, and it's dried up. So we know that they're very localized, and it could be Vince, kind of like with the Hebrew children during the time when they were in Egypt, and God would pull the plagues out, but the Hebrew children were protected. Mm-hmm. So that's the best answer that I can have based on Scripture. So.
All right, wonderful. All right, we're going to go to Brian in Kansas. Brian, welcome to End of the Age.
Yeah, are you there?
We're here. We can hear you loud and clear. What's your question, Brian?
Thank you for taking my call. Vince, I was wondering, my wife and I, our lives have been changed by Irvin Baxter's teachings. One thing that maybe people aren't aware of is that the Jerusalem Bible College, when we completed it, there was also numerous just Bible studies that we could continue on. Our lives are really changed by all of those things, and I was wondering if you or maybe one of Irvin's children planned on writing an autobiography. We'd like to know a lot more about Irvin Baxter. And then I have another question after that. Is in yesterday's news, it looked like apparently Joe Biden has sent aid to the Palestinians, financial aid to the Palestinians, and I was wondering how that what you guys think about him doing that. And just before Armageddon, it sounds like Israel is getting kind of defeated. Do you see America? Do you think America is in there getting defeated along with the Israelis just before, the return of Jesus for Armageddon? So I have those two questions, and I can let you go and just let you answer that if you'd like.
Okay. Thanks for your call, Brian. Doug, you want to go first? Actually, look at that.
There's a break.
It's time to go.
Okay.
All right, Brian. Well, we will address your two questions after the break, and then we'll be getting to more calls at 1-877-363-8463. Also want to remind you about the Reclaim America campaign. It is active and going. There's several states that still need help. So go to endtime.com/USA or give us a call at 1-800-ENDTIME. So you want to donate to the Reclaim America campaign.
Most of us walk around day by day blind to the prophecies being fulfilled right before us. Every news report brings a new piece to the puzzle in the race towards the final 7 years and the second coming of Jesus Christ. Now, more than ever, it is important for God's people to understand the times in which we are living. On November the 12th, 2013, we opened our Jerusalem Prophecy College in downtown Jerusalem. These same courses are now available online for people who are unable to attend the classes in person. We welcome students to join us and discover the link between current events and the prophecies of the Bible. Take your place in the prophecy of Daniel 11:33. Enroll in the Jerusalem Prophecy College today. Go to JerusalemProphecyCollege.com.
Welcome back to End of the Age. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. It's a great commercial there right after Brian's call promoting the Jerusalem Prophecy College. It is a great program. There's 11 courses there. It's only $59 per course, and it is absolutely life-changing. We have reports from people all around the world who have gone and done the Jerusalem Prophecy College, and it has dramatically transformed their life. People whose marriages were falling apart, they went through it together, and their marriage has been restored. I mean, there's story after story. There's thousands of people that have gone through it, and they say that you should as well. So if you have not done that yet, you can go to endtime.com/JPC, as in Jerusalem Prophecy College, endtime.com/JPC, and begin the first course there. Irvin Baxter teaches the entire thing. So if you're having some fits that you want to hear Irvin again, which we're all that way, you can go to JerusalemProphecyCollege.com or endtime.com/JPC and get your fix there 20 times over. So there's, I think, like several hundred hours there for you. Anyway, Brian, you asked about an autobiography for Irvin, and I got to tell you that I have been burdened to do that for quite some time, probably about maybe 3 or 4 years now. I have secretly been recording him all these years. I would ask him stories. We'd sit around the dinner table and I'd ask him stories and I'd record him, not telling him that I was doing it. I did tell him later, but nonetheless, in the moment, I would be recording the stories that he would be sharing about he and Judy's time as evangelists when they would break down on the side of the road. They didn't have any money to fix their car, and he would get out his tools and try to fix the car on the side of the road and couldn't do it, and he would pray for the car, and the car would just magically start turning on. And there's story after story after story. I'm reminded of the one where they needed $60 to cover their expenses for the month and had no idea how they were going to get $60. I think they only made $40. And so they didn't have the money. They had no possibility of that money coming in that they knew of, and God made a way and supplied exactly $60 through Judy singing at a funeral and Irvin preaching, and she actually made more money than him to sing a 5-minute song at a funeral. And so he always talked about how that must have been an indicator of how much better of a singer she was than he was a preacher at that point. So lots
she does
of
have
awesome
a golden voice.
She does. Lots of awesome stories like that I've captured over the years. And of course, Judy is here with us as well. She's actively involved at Endtime Ministries. And so I intend to pick her brain and make sure I get the story right. It's a massive project. I've already been working on it, although it's literally probably in the first phase, so it would take quite some time to get done. I have no idea when it's going to happen, but yes, it is a burden of mine, and I think I'm going to do it before it's all said and done. But don't call and ask our agents about it, because they don't know anything about it, and it's not available for pre-order or order or anything. So it is in the very, very beginning stages, but there's going to be lots of great stories like that. So, yeah. Doug, you've heard a lot of those stories too.
Move Mountains is, kind of like a little prelude to that, because you would do the same thing during our devotionals in the mornings, and that's a great book.
That's true. Well. I still have like 700 recordings, roughly, of our morning devotions with Irvin. And so I did write Move Mountains. It's him teaching, and then I wrote some action steps to it and some prayers that you can do. So it's pray, read, and then act upon it. It's only 30 days. I think the book's about 120 pages long. It's a short book, very thin, easy to read, and you go day by day for 30 days. I'd highly recommend it, of course. So you can hear some of those stories there, and I think it'll change your life, so you can call us for that as well if you're interested. Yeah. Doug, he also asked about Joe Biden's action toward the Palestinians.
Right. And so we know, Vince, this president has said that he's going to recognize the settlements as occupied territory. So we're going back to the UN 2334 resolution that they passed, saying that those settlements are actually, those people are war criminals. Basically, they came in, they took over that area, and they set up shop there, and they're occupying Palestinian territory. So we know that Joe Biden leans more toward the Palestinian argument there. And he's also kind of backed off some of the things that Trump was trying to do, or President Trump. I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody, but President Biden and President Trump have two different views on Israel. Having said that, yes, I saw that he was giving them monies again and helping with that, because remember, one of the things that President Trump did was take that away to kind of put pressure on them to come to the peace agreement table. They're still not there. And one of the things Abbas had just got he's just gone and got checked out physically to see how well he is. They've got elections coming up for the first time since 2016, I think, or maybe 2006. I can't remember how long it's been, but it's been outrageously long.
You trust those doctor's reports?
No, I don't. But anyway,
they gave him a clean bill of health?
They say he's doing great. However, he does have stomach cancer and he does have heart problems and he is a heavy smoker. So those things
I have a feeling they weren't allowed to say otherwise.
Yeah, probably not. But he's favored to win, believe it or not, by a very large margin. So we know that Abbas does not want to come to the tables under the Trump peace agreement. And so he has gone to the UN and asked for the original members of the quartet, the peace quartet, to come in and renegotiate some of that treaty. So the things that were set in place by President Trump are going to remain, but they're going to revisit the Palestinian-Israeli side of things and see what they can work out. So we know that's going on. I can't remember the other question that he asked. Oh, about America, yes. Yes, it does appear like we will be fighting alongside Israel all the way up until the very end. And so I would imagine that as we get worn down in that battle too, it's just going to be like Brother Baxter would always tell this story that would just suck you in about what was going on. Every story. But this one he's talking about the Israeli soldiers are sitting there and they're down to their last few bullets and they're looking up at their demise and knowing, that they're going to die just any moment. And they say, Messiah, if you're ever going to come, now's the time. Mm-hmm. And they would see the Lord coming in the air with power and great glory. So, yes, I believe that America is going to stick by Israel's side based on that Revelation 12:14.
All righty. Well, we are going to go to Stephen in Pennsylvania. Stephen, welcome to End of the Age.
Hello, gentlemen. How you doing today?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Good.
Okay, since we're almost to the end of the program, I'm going to ask that you give me the treetop version to my question so we can get to other people. First of all, how close are we to World War III? Second, do you see anything going on with anything that we might have a civil war before this is all said and done because of who's in the office of the presidency? And my third question is, when we have the rapture, Israel is still going to be here, those that survive the Battle of Armageddon. Now, my question is this. If I know somebody that, let's say, isn't saved at this time, but gets saved before the rapture happens, but doesn't make it in the rapture for whatever reason, does that person have a second chance at getting into heaven at the white throne judgment, or is it going to be the only people that make it to heaven or the people that are in the first resurrection? I'm at work, so I'm going to have to hang up and listen later to your answer to my question. God bless, gentlemen. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen.
Well, he's in Pennsylvania, so it's almost 5 o'clock there. I know what he's doing. He's ready to go home.
Yeah.
And he asked us that question like, oh, you only have 8 minutes left, so let me give you an easy one.
Well, okay, so starting with World War III, Vince, we know that could happen at any moment. We're watching things right now, that are going on with the build-up.
China, Taiwan.
Yeah, China, Taiwan, Russia, the Ukraine. There's a lot of things going on right now, and we could watch it happen at any moment. Israel is flying over into Syria and bombing Iran in places where they're storing missiles and trying to build a highway all the way to the Gulf over there. And so there's several different things that are happening. I say all the time that's a powder keg. Everybody's standing around with lit matches, and it could happen at any moment. The Bible doesn't tell us specifically when it's going to happen, but we know that we are very close. So there's answer number one. He had several questions, though, so I'm trying to remember, as I said here. But let's see, the one about the Jews. Okay, so we know that there's going to be, and maybe it's a symbolic figure, but we know that there's going to be some Jews who are born again that are going to make it into the rapture. We know that because in Revelation chapter 7, we see the 144,000 representing the Jewish people and then the great multitude that no one could count. So we know that there's going to be Jews that are turned. I mean, they're going to have these two witnesses that are going to be amazing men of God that are going to be teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ in Israel. They're going to see these guys working, those guys are going to get a whole lot of Jews saved, I would imagine, that are going to make it up in the rapture. But there will be a remnant. The Bible says that 1/3 will go through this fire. They're going to go through the Battle of Armageddon. In Zechariah 14, it tells us that there will be survivors even of the nations that come against Israel. So, to answer your question, Stephen, about the rapture, the first resurrection, you must be born again. Jesus said you must be born in the water and the Spirit to enter into the kingdom of God. And so you must be born again. So anybody that's born again is going to make it into that rapture. Those that are left behind, that are there, that survive, we don't know why they survived. We know the Jewish people are going to survive. 1/3 of them anyway. They'll live into the millennial reign. And then the survivors of these nations that live into the millennial reign. There will probably be some way for them to be saved during that time. There's always been a dispensation for the age. And so we believe that there will be one then. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but God will sort all that out.
But don't take your chances.
No, don't take your chances.
Go ahead and get born again now. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to endtime.com/reborn. And we have written, actually Irvin wrote a pamphlet on that. We've made it available for free right there at endtime.com/reborn. You can learn what that means biblically. What does it mean to be born again? All right, Michael in Florida. We are short on time, so please get straight to your question. Welcome to End of the Age.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Michael. Just about to wrap it up. What's your question?
Hey, given what it says in the Bible and James about what God is going to do to the rich people, I was thinking, like, socialism and capitalism are both not good systems. What is good is Bible system. And why do you guys keep conveying that there's going to be this redistribution of wealth? Because what I know is rich people do everything to take away from Christians and poor people, and they never want to give even a cent. You know?
All right. Well, we've got just over a minute, so thank you for your call, Michael. Doug, you want to address that?
Well, I'll try. I mean, we know that it's going to be a socialistic system because the beast in Revelation 7 is a red dragon. So we know communism is going to play a part in this. It's going to be, I mean, their whole system's set up right now for wealth redistribution. Many things that we have signed into and that we've tried to get out of have all been about wealth redistribution. This is something that they do in all the socialist communistic countries, and we see that it doesn't work. I mean, we watched it, you know, with like Venezuela is always brought up as one of the great examples of it. But we know from the Bible, when we look in Revelation 17, that beast, that end-time one-world government beast is red, and red is symbolic for communism.
I would add that money is amoral. So if you're a bad person and you get a lot of money, you do more bad things. If you're a good person, you do more good things. And so we need Jesus, and that's going to determine what you do if you get blessed with money. I know rich people that don't do what Michael described, but nonetheless, it is what it is. Thank you for your call, Michael. We'll see you on Monday at 3 p.m.
This has been End of the Age, brought to you by the faithful partners of Endtime Ministries. If you're not currently a partner with Endtime Ministries, or if you would like more information, we invite you to call us at 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463, or visit us online at endtime.com.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page.